Unit 11, page 108. Photo Story, Episode 6, The Journalist.
What's up, Megan? You don't look too happy.
I'm not. Check this out. Teenagers in graffiti disgrace. Local teenagers vandalize town centre once again.
What? Let me see.
Do you see that? Once again. Like it happens every day.
It makes me so angry when I read headlines like this.
Don't get too angry, guys. It's not worth it.
Sorry, Luke. I don't agree. We're talking about this journalist. What's his name? Nigel Forsyth, who doesn't like teenagers.
That's right. My dad heard him on the radio once and he was like, "Oh, teenagers, all they do is make trouble."
I'm just saying that we can't really do anything about it. That's all.
A week later.
You're not going to believe this.
What now?
Nigel Forsyth's latest story. Wild teenagers out of control. Park buildings ruined by spray paint. Someone sprays a little paint on one old wall, and this is how he tells the story.
Yeah, and it was probably just one person. But he's talking about wild teenagers, plural. I don't believe it.
One person does something stupid and we're all criminals.
I know what you mean. It's just, well, infuriating.
Nigel Forsyth. Ha! Well, that's enough. I'm going to have a word with him. I'm going to make sure that he knows one thing. The young people of this town are not wild criminals.
Unit 12, page 110. Reading, Exercise 5. Hard times to be a kid.
I'm not allowed to stay out late.
Why do I have to do my homework before I can watch TV?
My parents never let me go to parties.
Why is it just Mum and Dad who make the rules? Life's just not fair.
Do these complaints sound familiar? Well, if you think your life is hard, you might like to think about kids in ancient times. For some of them, life was really hard. If you were born in ancient Greece, you weren't even thought to be a real person until you'd been alive for 5 days. That's right, for 5 days after you were born, your parents were allowed to get rid of you. If they decided they didn't want you, they'd just leave you outside somewhere to die. Of course, you might get lucky and someone else might pick you up, but then you'd spend the rest of your life as their slave. However, if your parents decided that they wanted you as part of the family, then there was a special ceremony to welcome you. Only the boys were allowed to go to school. Greek girls stayed at home, where their mothers taught them skills like cooking and weaving, things that would help them find a husband. At the age of 7, some boys were sent away to very strict military schools, where they were taught how to become soldiers. Life was pretty hard at these schools. For example, the kids were often hungry. The teachers didn't let them have much food, for a reason. They wanted the boys to learn how to survive for themselves by stealing food. But if they got caught, they were punished. Aztec children in Central America also had a difficult life in ancient times. If they broke rules, they could expect some pretty nasty punishments. On the good side, Aztecs really believed in the importance of schooling. In the home, children learned practical skills. Dads taught their sons how to fish and farm, while mothers taught their daughters homemaking skills. Girls and boys also went to school, although the adults didn't let them go to the same schools. Kids went to schools called telpakali. They had lessons about history, religion and music. The boys also had lessons in how to fight. If the children were from a more important family, they went to a kalmekak, where they learned how to read and write too. At both schools, children had to be on their best behaviour. They knew all about the punishments for behaving badly, and life was hard enough anyway.
Unit 12, page 113. Listening. Exercises 1 and 2.
I want to talk to you today about a really cool game called Rock, Paper, Scissors. First of all, I want to tell you how to play it, and then afterwards I'd like to tell you a bit about its history. The rules are really simple, and to play it, all you need are your hands. Before you start, you have to know the 3 positions you can make with your hand. The positions. The first position is the rock, where you bring all your fingers together to make a fist. You know, like people do sometimes when they're angry. The second position is paper. Just put your hand out flat with your fingers all together, like a piece of paper. And the third position is scissors. Just make 2 of your fingers, the first and second fingers, into a V shape, like a pair of scissors. So there you go. Rock, paper and scissors. How do you play? Well, both players, it's a 2-player game, put one hand behind their back. One of the players counts to 3. 1, 2, 3. And then, at the same time, both players bring out their hand in one of the positions, as rock, paper or scissors. You're not allowed to change your position when you see the other person's hand. Then you look to see who's won. Who's the winner? Rock defeats scissors because a rock can damage scissors. Like if you hit scissors with a rock and then the scissors aren't sharp and they can't cut anymore. Scissors defeats paper because they can cut it, of course. Paper defeats rock because you can cover a rock with paper. I think that's the reason. So, for example, if I have rock and you have scissors, I win a point. But if I have rock and you have paper, you win the point. If we have the same, no one wins, and we have to do it again. So, you decide how many points you're going to play to, and the first player to get that number of points is the winner. The history of the game. So now, I'd just like to tell you a bit about the history of the game. It was invented around 2,000 years ago in Asia. Over time, many countries developed a version of the game. There was an early version in Japan called Mushi-ken. Instead of rock, paper and scissors, this game used a frog, which was shown by the thumb, a snail, which was shown by the little finger, and a snake, which was shown by the first finger, the one next to the thumb, or the index finger if you want to use its proper name. The snake defeats the frog defeats the snail, and the snail defeats the snake, though I've no idea why. In the early 20th century, rock, paper, scissors became popular in Europe and then in the US. Today, there are even rock, paper, scissors world championships every year to find out who is the best player on the planet. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening to my talk on the game Rock, Paper, Scissors.
Unit 12, page 115. Pronunciation. Exercise 1.
Shh! Listen! Someone's talking in the next room.
Yes, and at this hour the castle should be empty.
We should investigate. Or, should we write a report?
I can't answer that. All I know is that we mustn't stay here another minute.
Unit 12, page 115. Pronunciation. Exercise 3.
Shh! Listen! Someone's talking in the next room.
Yes, and at this hour the castle should be empty.
We should investigate. Or, should we write a report?
I can't answer that. All I know is that we mustn't stay here another minute.
Units 11 and 12, page 118. Cambridge English Preliminary, Listening Part 2. Exercise 2.
Now, if you were watching the news yesterday evening, you probably noticed that we had a new face in our team. 12-year-old Lucy Harmon won a competition to be our weather forecaster for the day, and she now joins us this morning to tell us all about the experience. Lucy, welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, tell us, what did you have to do to enter the competition?
I had to write a short letter saying why I wanted to read the weather on TV, and then I had to make a short video of me reading a news story. Then I just sent it in the post, and about 2 months later, I got a phone call saying I had won, and they wanted me to go to the studio the next Friday. I couldn't believe it.
So, what happened on the big day?
Well, I got to the studio at about 3 o'clock. I met the producer and all the news team. They were really nice. Then I practiced reading the weather a few times for quite a while, just to get used to the cameras. The producer gave me some advice, and then suddenly it was time to go live on air.
At 4 o'clock?
No, at 5. The 4 o'clock news and weather, well, someone else did those.
And were you nervous?
No, not at all. I was too excited to be worried. It was so much fun. I just loved it.
And did you get a good forecast to do?
Yes, it was brilliant. It had everything. Sun, rain, clouds, strong winds. Everything that makes British weather so interesting. The only thing it didn't have was snow, but then I suppose it is still summer.
But you wouldn't believe it if you looked out of the window.
No.
So, what did you think of the day? Do you want to be a weather forecaster now?
It was great. I've always wanted to be a teacher since I was a little girl, but I think that's changed now. I'm not sure I want to be a weather forecaster, but I would like to be some kind of TV presenter.
Well, Lucy, I think there's every chance of that. Your performance yesterday was wonderful.
Thank you.